Yo, welcome back. Today's lesson, dividing powers of 10. Let's start with a breakdown. The summary. Okay, dividing powers of 10. Okay. Subtract the exponent in the denominator. So we want to subtract. Let me see if I can fix this real quick. All right. Subtract. Still not working 100. But we're going to keep it. Subtract the exponent. The exponent in the that's denominator. Make it look good on your paper. That's an E. I can do a little better. That looks all right. Subtract the exponent in the denominator from the exponent in the numerator. Okay, so 10 to the n divided by 10 to the m equals 10n minus m. Okay, so that's 10n divided by 10m equals 10n minus m. Okay, so with that said, take a look at this problem and go ahead and see if you can figure it out. And you can do it like down here in this section, and then we'll come back and take a look at that. So try to figure it out with that information. Oh, and also one more thing is 10 to the 0 is equal to 1. Okay. When all exponents are positive. Footnote, when that's an E, when all exponents are positive. Boom. All right. Go ahead and figure out that a surprising one. All right. So with that said, we're going to have, let's rearrange that. So we're going to have 2 to the 5th divided by, when we put these two together, okay, that's going to be 2 to the 5th times these two together is going to be times 3 to the 6th. 3 to the 6th divided by 3 to the 6th, which is going to equal 1. Because the 5 minus 5 is going to be 2 to the 0 times 6 minus 6 is going to be 3 to the 0, and that's going to equal really have room. This is gonna be 1 times 1, and the final answer is gonna be 1. I should have moved that over. I had all that space over there. Make it look neat in your notes. Okay, if you got any questions, ask me in class, and pause it if we need to for your notes. But moving on to the next question. So go ahead, take a moment and try to figure that out using your notes. I'll give you some time to do that. All right. Completing the table here. So we got 10 to the 4th divided by 10 to the 2nd. Okay, so basically it's like subtracting these right here. Okay. Which is going to leave you 10 to the 2, because that's 4 minus 2, which is 2. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we got 10 to the 5 divided by 10 to the 2. That's going to be 10 to the 3. All right. 10 to the 6. Oh, they want you to write that out. So we're going to have 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 divided by 10 to the 3. 6 minus 3 equals 10 to the 3. Okay, so we're going to have to subtract this. 10 to the 43rd minus 17 is going to equal 10 to the, do the math, 43 minus 17, 17, carry that, that's going to be 26. So you have 10 to the 26. Which one would you skip? This is 10 to the 26. Probably the last, because it takes up a lot of space. Too large to expand. So you can go ahead and write that in your notes. Pause it if we need to. I'm going to go ahead and go on to the next one. Okay, so this one is going to give you a minute to take a look at that. This is from our notes, 10 n minus m. Okay. right, let's delete that and move on to the next one. Give you a moment, take a look at that and figure that one out. All right, it is predicted that by 2050 there will be 10 to the 10 people living on Earth. At that time, it is predicted there will be 10 to the 12 trees. How many trees will there be for each person? Okay, so trees per person. They're looking for trees. Let me do it like this. They're looking for trees per person. Okay, so you're going to have 10 to the 12 trees times 10 divided by 10 divided by 10 to the 10th people, and that's going to equal 10 to the 12th minus 10 equals 10 to the second power, so equals 100 trees per person. Trees per person. Next one. Are you ready for more? Expand it. So we have 10. It's up here. Let me do it like this. Boom. So we got 10, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 4. We got 10, 2, 3. All right, and so then these are going to cancel, and that's going to leave us with 1 over 10 times 10, which equals 10, 4 minus 6, which equals 10 to the negative 2. Okay, which equals 1/100th. Like that. Okay, so we can circle these two. They're basically the same thing. Single power is 10 to the negative 2 power. Go ahead, put that in your notes. Pause it if you need to. And let's go on to take a minute and try to figure these out. How many? There's 4. So let's look at the first 2. Okay. All right, so write 10 to the 12 times 10 to the 0 with a power of 10 and a single exponent. So 10 to the 12 times 10 to the 0 equals 10, that's a 12. 10 to the 12 plus 0 equals 10 to the 12. Final answer. We showed our reasoning. What could you multiply to get the, well, 10 to the 12 times 1 equals 10 to the 12, or 10 to the 12 times 10 to the 0 is equal to 10 to the 12 times 1, which equals 10 to the 12. So there's two ways of doing that. All right. Okay. You got, write 10 to the 8 divided by 10 to the 0 with a single power of 10 using an appropriate exponent rule. Explain or show your reasoning. All right. So 10 to the 8 divided by 10 to the 0, which equals 1, equals 10 to the 8. I can do that 8 a little bit better. Okay, that's one answer. All right. What could you divide 10 to the 8 by to get the same answer? Okay, so same thing. Whoa, didn't want to do that. Say we do this up here to get, well, we already just did it. To get 10 to the 8, to get the same answer, we could divide it by 1, or we could do 10 to the 8 and divide it by 10 to the 0, and either one is going to give us 10 to the 8. And we could just make this equal, because all of these are equal. All right. I won't circle it. I'll just leave it like it is. All right. So go ahead, put that in your notes. I'll pause it in class as necessary, but I'm going to delete it to move on to, here's some more questions. So let's say 3 and 4 right here. Take a look at that. All right, 3 right here. If we want the exponent rules we found to work even when the exponent is 0, then what does the value of 10 to the 0 have to be? So 10 to the 0 has to be, again, 1. Okay, for everything to work. Noah says if you try to write 10 to the 0 expanded, it should have 0 factors that are 10. So it must be equal to 0 because the 0. Okay. Do you agree? Do you agree? Okay. So pause it in class and you can discuss it with your partner. We could take a minute for that. But it's false because, for example, 10 to the second power is 10 times 10. 10 to the first power equals 10, and 10 to the 0 equals multiply nothing. Okay, you're not multiplying anything. So you're multiplying nothing. So it's equal to 1. That's the logic. That's one way of thinking about it. Okay, so it doesn't equal 0. Okay. All right. So then we can pause it as required and then go to this one before we get to the summary. All right, so for this one, we have write as many expressions as you can that have the same values of 10 to the 6. Focus on using exponents, multiplication, and division. All right, so let's say 10 to the 2 times 10 to the 4 equals 10 to the 6, because that's 2 plus 4. Then you got 10 to the 1 times 10 to the 5. So, you know, there you go. You can go ahead and do the rest. All right. Then you got division. Whoa. Why don't we just do a line? How about that? So with division, you could do 10 to the 7 divided by 10 to the 1 equals 10 to the 6. All right. So you can go ahead and put about 3 or 4 more of those down here. Go ahead, pause it right here, take a moment. And then what patterns? What patterns are noticed? Okay. So multiply is add exponents. And divide is what? Subtract. Exponents. All right, there you have it. So if you got any questions, ask me in class. And other than that, peace.